Alrighty, we are live. Hello, 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 hello. Incredible greetings, everyone. Incredible greetings. So as you can see from my screen, we are going to do some designing in Silhouette Studio. I have technically designed this already. I actually did the shirts already. If you follow me over on TikTok, I was live making these shirts. It was front and back, layered HTV, and a printable eco-solvent transfer for the back. But I wanted to just go through and show like the process of what process I went through for creating this. Hopefully it will help you understand Silhouette Studio, like understanding design, like why certain decisions are made. So this is a more of a they're going to show you like the end product, but one of the things that I always hear from my students is like they just kind of like hearing my thought process and why I do certain things when they're trying to become like a better designer. What is it that they have to do? Like, what do they need to consider? So I just wanted to kind of walk through this, and this is like the last thing I did, and before I closed out um the design page, I was like, well, let me go live and I can really just break down my process for designing. That makes sense. Y'all cool with that? I'm just sharing this out. All right, hold on. Um essential. All right. Hold on one second. I just need to share this out. Um All right. Copy, share, and now share to a group. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so over here, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little, I don't know if it's just me with the numbers over on TikTok or what. But yeah, those numbers are like, it's looking kind of weird over here on TikTok. All right, let's see. Let's paste this one. How are you guys doing on this good old Saturday afternoon? Are you guys still working on crafts or projects and orders and things for Father's Day and Juneteenth and all of that? What are you guys working on? Okay, I'll share it out. Definitely not staying dry. It's very hard to stay dry when it was like rainy. Like right now, it's not really doing too much. We have like a little sprinkle here and there. But yeah, it was definitely, I mean, we're staying out of it as much as possible. I think, yeah, was it yesterday? Me and Zanimani kind of somewhat got caught in it. We had to do a couple Walmart runs, but yeah, it's impossible to stay dry here. But we're not in a flood zone, so that's one good thing. You know, we didn't have to worry about like excessive water and stuff like that. So, but thank you so much for thinking about me and my family and, you know, what's going on here in South Florida. I didn't get, yeah, see, I don't know what's going on. Like, I think I'm going to restart my TikTok. So let's do that. I'm just going to restart it. Incredible afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, do you always put that? But that's my city girl, period. Um, it missed Central Florida. I mean, there was a little bit of like rain because I know of a few people who were trying out. The new ride, the new Princess Tiana one, and like they were invited there, and they kind of got caught in some rain and stuff. But dang it, I didn't mean to put. Hold on, and now. I was trying to change this, and let's do. I'm going to go back to my learning one. Um, let's see. All right, there we go. And turn on my content disclosure. Well, I'll wait a minute before I turn that on. Hey, just say. All right. So I'm trying to wait for the algorithm to do its thing. Oh yeah, my bad, my bad, my bad. Yeah, I just restarted the live again, so now you got to go back in there because I'm not sure if it gave notification, but I just restarted the live again over on TikTok. If you're watching the playback of this over on Facebook or YouTube, I know it's kind of chaotic. It's like all over the place. My apologies, but that's kind of just how it is. This is a very casual learning environment. Um, it's not a pre-recorded video. I come live. I have to share. I have to do certain things. So it's like, whenever you come to someone's house, you go to a party, you don't always like immediately walk in the door and you're just partying and stuff. You kind of feel people out, say hello to a few people, walk the room, stuff like that. And then, you get the party jumping, might go pick up a little drink or something. So this gives you time. Okay, the professor is on. Whatever I was doing, let me pause that, or let me like kind of reposition. Like this time I'm letting you know, like we're going to go over a design. So this is what you guys say that you want. You want to see something. You don't want to ask questions. You don't want a Q&A. You want to see something done from start to finish and just see the process. I'm going to let you know that this is going to be one of those lives that if you don't like, I guess you could say like long-winded lives or a lot of explanation and you're just looking, hey, just show me how to do the thing. This is not the live for you. You might as well just go ahead. Thank you for clicking on the video. Thank you for, the view if you watch more than 3 seconds. But I'm going to let you know right now, I am going to really teach about like design and why certain decisions are made and why would you do things this way to help you become better designers. It's one thing just to show you a program. Hey, yep, you're going to click on this, you're going to trace this, you're going to do X, Y, and Z, compared to breaking down why you would do this or do that and, this, that, and the third. So if that's not the type of instruction you are looking for, then this might not be the video or the channel for you. I do more than just show where to click at on the screen. Okay. All right. Oh, wait, I'm missing a web because that's not, it's this one. So this is we're going to get started now. Oh, well, first let me do my little introduction here. My name is Shakia Lavelle. I'm also known as Shakia the Professor in these creative streets. I have been teaching online for nearly 10 years now on Silhouette Studio, different print methods, things like t-shirts, party favors, paper crafts, just all sorts of things I have been teaching for the past 10 years. These are things that I have done myself in business, had successful businesses like in it, and just needed at the time adult interaction. So it kind of went from me just showing what I did. And instead of just doing it in my house by myself, hey, let me go live. Let me share like, hey, while I'm working on this project, I'm working on a party, I'm working on decor for my kids or, for an order. And it was like, it started off as that. And that picked up so much so to where I found myself doing more of that. And my husband was like, look, if you're going to be online with folk all day long, it got to make money because you're slowing you down, stuff like that. So over the years, it has turned into a major part of business for me. We have paid classes. I have 2 successful YouTube channels that generate revenues. Not as great as it used to be, but because now there's like so many people doing YouTube channels. So advertiser dollars just don't stretch as much as they used to. We also have an amazing product that we sell as well, which is sublimation paper products. We have sublimation paper and ink. Our sublimation paper allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. Our ink bottles for sublimation and pigment ink are 140 milliliter bottles, so you get more bang for your buck. They are key for EcoTank printers, but they are really, really easy to use with syringes and needles if you have to fill a cartridge or a tank printer that's not an Epson. So like my pigment ink, I've put 2 colors in now. So I'm now utilizing our pigment ink in my Canon TC20, but of course the nozzles don't match. So I have to like use a syringe and drain it out and do stuff like that. But it's keyed for Epson EcoTanks, but you can use it, if compatible, you can use it with other printers as well, whether it's a cartridge-based Epson printer for sublimation, or if you have some sort of refillable system for any type of pigment ink printer, you're able to use our ink. So definitely check out our site, shop.hsink365.com for that. We also have like classes. If you're not able to enroll in classes, you can see we do offer Sezzle, whether it's for products or classes. I have 2 YouTube channels, Silhouette Anonymous and Honestly Speaking, where I have taught on everything. I don't think, like, as far as like things that we do in the craft or like creative community, although I don't do a lot of like epoxy and resin, I've done glitter tumblers and things of that nature. All the major things, I don't think there's anything that I have not done. If you ever want a challenge and just find out, hey, have you done a video for this? Or can you, are you familiar with this? When I'm doing those Q&As, definitely comment. I'm always looking for new ideas of things to post because I feel like I have done videos for everything. My content is kind of timeless. I feel like I just really have videos for just about, oh, she says, and the best non-staining heat tape that comes in 5 different sizes. Is it 6 different sizes? 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and 6 inch. So 6 different sizes. Oh, wait. Yeah, because 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Yeah, 6 sizes. Thank you for that. All right. So we, like I said, I've been teaching Silhouette for nearly 10 years. I don't think anyone knows this program better than me. I've had a lot of flack from certain people who did not like the fact that I said, I know this program better than the people who work for Silhouette because of the number of things that I do with it. It's not just creating designs that's like made just like to be able to cut with the cameos. I have 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I have all of those and I have like multiple ones. I want a 5, I eventually get one, but I know this program inside and out. If it can be done in Silhouette Studio, I probably have done it. Even if I don't do it because I know graphic design, I can direct you for like what you want to be able to do in Silhouette if it can be done. It's not a super program. It's not going to be able to fulfill all of your design needs, but it definitely, it does its thing. Trust me, it does its thing. The amount of things that I've created in this, everything from like paper craft stuff, 3D models, obituaries, invitations, menus, templates to be able to cut out foam board cutouts, like character cutouts, the list, custom boxes, templates for sublimation, for tumblers, for mugs, for keychains, for ribbon, like the list goes on and on and on the number of things that I have designed and created utilizing Silhouette Studio. I absolutely love sharing this program. Many think because it's not your traditional Photoshop and things of that nature, that it's not like a full-on graphic designing program. If you're new to graphic designing or you have a desire to get into designing things, whether it's for business or for, you know, personal, it's a great place to start. It's a step above just your typical crafter type things, where you're really designing from scratch. And I absolutely love it. Like I said, I've been teaching it for years. But what we're going to do today, I completed an order of some shirts. I had 9 shirts to do. And I went old school. Although I'm the type of person, I do like vinyl. But at one point I was doing a lot of vinyl, and I have a bunch of rolls, and I don't buy the sheets of vinyl. I buy vinyl by the rolls, full rolls, 5-yard rolls at a time. And so although I could have ordered DTF prints because I have 3 people locally, 2 of which I could have gotten my prints pretty much the same day. I wanted to be able to utilize the supplies I had here, because if I don't use them and I just go immediately to the easiest route and doing DTF or sublimation and things like that, it's still like losing money because I've paid out money for this vinyl and it's not being used. So it becomes money wasted. It's a loss. So I wanted to be able to utilize the supplies that I had. I want to knock them down. Will I, like, when it's time to re-up, will I be buying vinyl like crazy like I was? No, but I want to be able to do certain things and just get rid of the inventory of vinyl that I already have. So I opted to do this design from vinyl for the front. So it's two colors, white and black. The white layer, very, very detailed layer. So the weeding on it took a really, really long time. And then the back, I utilized my Rolling BN20 to do the back print, where it has like all of the embossing and like just the shadowing and all that stuff for the back part of it. So it was a mixed media shirt, front and back. Okay. And I created it from scratch, essentially. The client did send me their inspiration. This is what I mean when I'm like, it's okay to, your client might like send you something. Oh, I want it exactly like this. And I think crafters take that too literal, and that they want it exactly like okay, as close as possible. Like, okay, there. Oh, I don't know. Is my signal still good for you guys over on Facebook and YouTube? Because it went black and then it told me that my connection was unstable. Make sure that you guys give this video a thumbs up if you have not done so already. If you didn't say hello and you're watching, help the algorithm and just drop a hey, how you doing? It doesn't hurt you any. It does help. If you are somebody that wants to build on social media, you want to sell via social media and be able to put your post out there and you want someone to see it. Social media is definitely you get back what you put into it. So if you're on somebody else's content, you're not commenting, you're not saying hello. Like if they're live, if you're going to start selling live, you're going to want people to come in, say hello, share it out. If that is what you want for people to do for your business as well, do that for somebody else. You get back what you put in. So if you're just kind of on here and it's like, I'm gonna put my content out, I just want people to share me out and I'm not going to share the love, it's not going to work out very well for you. So if you're on right now, you have not said hello, just say hi. 2 letters, H-I. That's it. They're really close to each other on the keyboard. Hi. That's it. That's all it takes is a quick hello. Drop an emoji. That helps. Same thing for you. That's what you want people to do for you. Double tap the screen. Give a couple of likes. It's never been a time where I have been on and I don't teach you something, that you don't walk away from one of my videos learning something. So it's worth a thumbs up. Even if it's just one little part of the puzzle, it's worth a like. So if you can give the video a thumbs up, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Hi, Christy. Thank you. Hey, Don. How are you? Welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys for commenting. If you have not done so, like the video. If you're watching over on YouTube, you have to click out of the live chat to give the video a thumbs up. All right. So now they will ask for a design and it's like, okay, well, this is what I want. You cannot guarantee that. You don't know what font that is exactly, where to find that font. And you will spend, you can spend way too much time. Thank you, all my moments for saying good afternoon. Miss Phyllis, hello. Thank you for commenting. I'm quick to say I can do something similar, but it might not be exactly. Like I said, you don't know what font. Now this part, sure, it's the Spider-Man logo. It's the Marvel logo. Oh, by the way, let's go ahead and do this disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Although I am showing you, I'm utilizing a licensed logo such as Spider-Man and Marvel, the Marvel logo, to demonstrate how you can design. Do understand that if you decide to recreate what I am doing, if you are someone that has a business and you are selling and you're making a profit off of it, do understand that this is the intellectual properties of whatever companies or whatever entities like own that. You are subject to legal action. If, you know, they see that you're selling it, you're making a profit off of it, they can send you a cease and desist. So do understand that what I'm showing is for educational purposes only. By no means am I saying because you are able to pull these images from the internet, you're able to trace and manipulate certain things, that it gives you the legal right to be able to sell them without consequence. Now that we have that disclaimer out of the way, we can proceed. T-Top Designs, hello. Oh, I like that. She says, hey, superstar. Thank you so much. All right, so this, you're going to find it online. You can guarantee that. Something like this, it's not something that was user created. It was created by basically Disney. Disney owns like Marvel, whatever. So it's created by them. It's what they use in promo stuff. All you have to know how to do is how to extract that from the image that you got off of line. So tracing, detaching, or if you had to manually trace it. So I had to do a little bit of both to really get like a clean trace around this. So I end up doing a trace and detach, got the bulk of it, and it's like the shape. And then I had to go in there and really define like some corners because the tracing rounded some areas off. And it also kind of had like some pixelation like around the edges. So I had to go in there and correct that. These are actually a couple things: internal offset, and then cropping it, as well as some point editing to be able to get that exactly how I wanted it, because it is something that's not going to be printed. It was going to be cut. If this was a white shirt and I just like a white polyester shirt and I was just going to print it and just press it, I probably would not have gone through the links that you're going to see me do because it's like printed. But when you're going to cut something, if you wanted to cut a specific way, you have to set the file up that way. That does take time. Sometimes it's not as easy as just clicking a button and allowing it to trace, like whatever the automatic trace is. There is no AI for it. You have to put in the work, and you have to know how to use the program in order to put in that work. So this part is one where, hey, they want them in the back. It's easy to accommodate that, and it's going to be spot on because that's from the web. Now, the front part of it, I don't know what font they use for that. If that's not like an official font of like Spider-Man, it's just like this random font. Okay, the little spider at the bottom, is that an official, like a part of like a logo for Spider-Man, and it has this particular spider hanging down from it? Is that the exact one? Do I need like that exact one? Or is it just, I want a web, I want the Spider-Man type logo spider in the middle, I want the word spider, nothing else, not Spider-Man, I just want the word spider, I want 2024, and I want a spider hanging down from the web. That is a concept. They may send it to you and like, this is the layout that I want. Sometimes this, I want this exact thing, is not about the exact elements, the exact colors, that exact picture. They may want the exact layout. And you can do that without trying, like, okay, I'm going to ask this question. So for some of you guys, put a number 3. If the client had the mock-up for this, right? They're like, I want something like this. How many of you guys would have tried to trace what is here and try to isolate like the exact spider that's there, the word spider, trace the 2024 that's there? How many of you guys would have gone that route to where, oh, okay, hey, you gave me the design, I'm just going to trace this and I'm going to use this as is? Put a 3 if that's what you would have done. If you would have tried to recreate it in your own style, put a 6. So I see a couple 3s over here on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for answering. I don't know if there's a delay over on Facebook and YouTube. I don't see any responses as of yet, but it could be that you guys have a delay from what I'm saying and like when you guys hear it. All right, so I see a couple of 6. See a couple of sixes. All right. So if you guys were recreating it, what program? So they just sent you a picture. What program are you guys using to recreate these designs? And okay, also with recreation, would you look for the spider and the web already together? Or would you get a web and a spider like that, like trace them and then put it together? So you're using Canva, okay? So that means you would try to find JPEGs or PNG, like, so like if you're gonna use Canva for something like this, that means that everything, well, I'm not gonna say everything had to be a PNG because they do have background remover if you have Pro. Web and spider separately. So, you know, like, because I'm not printing this out, if I were going to, if I want to be able to cut this, even if you were to set it up in Canva, you still have to, like, because it's white and black and it will be two different color vinyls, you're going to have to set them up on two totally different pages. And the white, you will probably have to like add color. Then when you want to go and like cut it, whether you have a Cricut, a Silhouette, a Caesar, you still have to come into that cutter's software to be able to trace it or set it up where the cutter will read it to be able to cut everything out. So although some of you guys may like Canva, it's brand new. It's, you know, it's something like it's shiny and new. It's web-based. Some people feel like it's easier to operate because it's web-based. There's a lot of apps. There's a lot of AI to it. It may not be the best program to use because you're still going to have to do the work in the software for the cutter or in a software to make it a cut file. You cannot, like from a picture, you cannot create an SVG from an image. There is no trace function. So if you're bringing in like shapes, if you do text, things of that nature, you can save it as an SVG from Canva. But if it's like a picture of a spider web and these like different things like that, and it wasn't a vector file already, it wasn't a SVG like stored in the elements, once you bring it into whatever cut software you're going to use, you have to now trace it or remove the outline and or save it. You know, like in Cricut, when you upload it, it's like, okay, how do you want to save this? Save it as like a cut file. You're still going to have to do those steps. So for certain things, it's best to just avoid a program like Canva that doesn't allow you to create a vector file. It doesn't allow you to create a cut file. Make sense? Silhouette, use Creative Fabrica for the spider and the web. So what? The little spider right here? Because this is a specific spider to the Spider-Man brand. Let's see. I don't know Silhouette. So Canva, you're on the right live because Professor knows all things Silhouette. Thank you. So it is important to know different programs because you can end up doing double work by starting in one program and then going into another, especially when like the other program can really do everything that you basically need. All right. This particular image is not one, like I saw a lot of threes. This is a very low resolution image. Not sure if you guys can really see. There are color halos. There's pixelation there. So if you try to simply trace it, you're going to end up with a hotmess.com. It's not going to be a great trace. These are the ones to where people think just because they know how to use the trace button, they know how to click on the trace button. This is why you end up with those files like these, and I'm doing air quotes, SVG files on Etsy that are absolutely horrendous. They're bumps and lumps and it's not straight lines and it just looks a mess. They don't really care about it. To them, they don't know any better. Oh, I was able to trace it. I was able to cut it, even though it's the worst cut ever. To them, it's, hey, I mean, that is an accomplishment that you were able to trace something and cut it. May not have been the best, but there are a lot of Etsy sellers that aren't putting the best on those platforms. They're putting the I did the thing on those platforms. This is not something that you want to trace. You need to find better options, okay? This is not something you want to trace. How much does Silhouette cost? How does $0 sound? Silhouette costs you absolutely nothing to use. Everything that I'm about to show you can be done from the free version of the program. Now, saving it, if I wanted to take it out of the software, technically there's a free way to do it, but it's like another app that you would have to use. You could save it as a JPEG and even as a PDF using print to PDF. So there are ways without having the business edition to save it in different file formats. You don't really need business edition to save it in certain file formats. But like if you're doing DTF and you needed the background to be transparent, saving as a PDF, you do have to have business edition. But if you just wanted, like created something and you wanted a PDF version of it, it would have a white background to it, but you can just use print to PDF. But Silhouette Studio is absolutely free. You do not have to purchase one of their machines or anything like that. It is absolutely free. There are upgrades upgrades to the software Designer Edition, Designer Plus, and Business that unlock additional features, but just to use it free. If you want to open an SVG, you do have to pay at least for that first tier, which with the link that I have, you're only going to pay $25. If you want Business Edition, it's $50 with my link. Okay. Guess I need to get going on Learn Silhouette in 30 days. Yep. And we start back live in just a few weeks. In July, we go back live with teaching it for 13 weeks. So I'm excited about that one. That's coming up we're already midway through June. So we're halfway. We have like another half a month before we start back up with the Essential Silhouette Studio Live. So I can't do anything with this, right? If you look at this one, can't do anything with it. I have to find a high resolution version of it. So I went to Google, definitely found, a few of them. Let me see. This is, I think this might already be, do I have any of them that still, no, I do not. All right. So what I'm going to do is just put my box. Oh, wait, where are you? And I'm just going to weld it. So I went online, I found one. I had to save it because I had to save it because it was a true PNG. So it didn't have the black outline. So I had to save it as a PNG file. This is what we have. But when you bring in a PNG, it's ready to print. There's nothing that's going to show around it. It may not be scaled to size because there's negative space and there's extra around it. So there's things that you have to do to it, whether you crop it down like right to the edges or you do a trace and detach, but this can be sized up and can just be printed, but it's not ready to cut. It doesn't have an outline. It doesn't have a vector outline. It doesn't have a cut line. If you go into Cricut Design Space, it actually is doing kind of like that trace part for you, that first part when you go and you click and you remove it, and then you go to the next screen, it says, do you want to upload it as a print and cut or as a cut file? If you do it as a cut file, it's just the outline. You do it as a print and cut, then it gives you the image, the cut lines and stuff are there, but you're limited in the size that you can actually print it. It's meant to print, then cut. They don't give you the option to just print it or to be able to utilize it outside of Cricut Design Space. So yeah, it might seem like, oh, it's going to be easier to do it in Cricut. Like Cricut does it for you, but Cricut also limits what you can do with that data, that content, once you bring it into their system. So is it worth it to say, okay, well, this is really, really easy if you're not wanting to just use a Cricut machine? You want to be able to print, and I put this clear across the back of a shirt, 15 inches wide across one of them, and like the other ones are like 12 inches. So is that worth it to be like, it's easy, but then you have limitations? Okay. Yes, that's the one thing I'm not a big fan of about Cricut. So even if you're just printing, so like, let's say I did not have a Cameo. My first machine was my Roland BN20. Roland does not have a design program that you can go and set things up like and just send it to their machine. It's their program. Their VersaWorks is a RIP software basically. So you have to set it up somewhere else, whether that is Photoshop, whether that is Illustrator or something like Silhouette Studio. So I was able to set this up in Silhouette Studio. I did have to use another program. So you'll have to use like Illustrator or Flexi to set the spot color. Or you could do it in Illustrator, which to me is a little bit more complicated. In Silhouette Studio, it's very, very easy to do. And then all you have to do is utilize Illustrator to set the spot color. So I am one where I don't see it as a burden. I don't see it as, oh, it's an extra step. It's an extra program. To me, they work hand in hand. I'm used to using multiple programs to accomplish what I want to do design-wise. So I just don't care about that. But you would be able to utilize Silhouette Studio and Illustrator and never have a Silhouette machine. You have a bigger cutter, like a Roland, or, you know, whether it's a Roland BN20 or even a bigger Roland or Epson, like a big Epson printer, set it up and be able to send it to print. That is one of the joys of the Silhouette Studio program. Machine and program for me are two different things. All right. So we got that, right? So for this spider, I saw this one. It has, you know, the spider web there, which we can tell that that's what this was basically inspired by, like how they have this set up. This is an official like artwork for Spider-Man. So you have the web, you have that particular spider, and you have the word like Spider-Man like in that font. But you cannot necessarily like technically like trace it. You can do trace by color. People ask me all the time about trace by color. I'm gonna just open this in a new window just so that it's separate from everything else. And I do want to demonstrate the trace by color. Like I told y'all asked me for a full-on class. Oh, come in, show me something. So you're gonna get a full-on class, step by step, detail for detail. Watch it back, take notes, really think about what it is that I'm saying, process it. This is a full training. Y'all didn't want to do Q&As. I don't like to ask me questions. So if it's going to be my way, I'm going to teach it my way, and we can go step by step. And hell, we might be here for an hour or two, okay? But I'm going to break it all down. There's going to be a couple of things, you know, thrown here and there that just kind of gives context. So if I go over to the trace window, and if that's okay with y'all, let me know. It's all right. If that's cool with y'all, put it's cool in the comments. If I do a full-on training with y'all, a free full-on training with y'all today to give you a lot of help and insight, let me know that's all right, Professor. Okay, that's cool. All right, see a cool over there. That's cool. All right. If I get one of them, I'm good. So this is a part of the upgraded version, and it's called Trace by Color. So I'm going to go Trace by Color. I'm going to sample the red. I need to take up my tolerance, and it's going to pick up wherever there is red. Now, the issue with that is I don't even know why it's picking up around the spider, because there's not really red in this area. But I go up and I either have to select the spider, or like it'll be gaps in my red section. So if I'm trying to bring it down to where I'm not doing, like, I don't even know why it's picking up on that. And we have like the top, There is no way to really refine the color. So I can go back in and maybe try sampling like a different area. And I'm going to take my tolerance up. I'm still capturing more than just the spider. So that doesn't always work. It doesn't always work to just use trace by color. All right. So I'm just going to go trace on this. Then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do the black areas. Oh, also, just look at the way that trace is, like the edges of things. Like this is, it's not a straight line because it's pixelated. That image was not the greatest version either. Like it was very pixelated, but trying to go online and find like a good version, sometimes you just can't, right? So if I go trace by color, now let's do black. Let's zoom back out. We're going to increase our tolerance. Well, dang. I mean, black should not be taking this long to, okay, let's try this again because it should not take that much to pick up. Why is it not picking up on the black? That's kind of weird. Okay, if I go all areas, it picks it up, but I don't understand why a single area, it wasn't picking it up. But I'm like all the way up and it still looks like crap. It's a great thought, but silhouettes trace by color, unless it is something where it is a single color, it's very simplex, like it's just a simple thing. Trace by color just doesn't do it. And I know that who do people call? Cricut now has the one like in one of their like beta ones to where it'll turn a picture into an SVG. I heard someone and my phone went dead and I was like, dang it, I wanted to be able to answer that. When I did this character and I was showing me making this from scratch, I showed like me recreating it, the circles, edit points, all of that from an AI image. And they were like, she was like, well, you know how like Cricut, you can put it in there and it just separates for you. Silhouette doesn't do that. And you have to do it manually. She did all this stuff. The way this original image was, Cricut Design Space would not either. Cricut Design Space is not that intuitive to go and separate into this many colors the way that this was. Like it had to be done the way that I showed. Like whether it is drawing it out or tracing it, like you just have to do it from scratch. Incredible afternoon. So there's still limitations to Cricut Design Space. Certain images just don't work well. And how this is picking up, like I took my tolerance all the way up and I still never got a great trace on the letters. So you have to learn how to do a regular trace. It's a great thought, but tracing by color just is not it. It's not it. You really should learn how to do like a regular trace. So I'm going to exit out of this, zoom back out. Okay. So that was one of the images, and it was more so like for the Spider-Man, because I think I ended up using a different spider here. This particular trace came from this spider web here, which when I look at, let's bring this to the front. I used to think maybe it was the same because like in this area right here, it had it like where this little piece goes up and it's not like fully connected, right? And that's kind of how this one is, but there's also a lot of like little gaps to it. And when you zoom in on it, because it was so small, there's a lot of pixels and halos and stuff like that that made this really difficult to get a really clean trace on it. So I had to, I found them like, okay, perfect. Here in my mind, like, okay, one of the first couple of webs I saw, perfect size, like, it's kind of like set up like that already. Went to go trace it and everything was all like, bumpity bump. Okay, that's not going to work. So I had to find another one that would work and I had to do some work to it, but it was the results that I want. When you have a certain standard, you are okay with doing the extra work to fit your standard versus, okay, well, it's there. I just want to do it the easy way. I'm just going to trace it, whatever results it gives me. I'm just going to, live with that. I'm not going to try and make it any better. Basically, you have no standards. And I mean, most beginners don't come into this with specific standards. As you kind of grow, as you mature in business and doing all this, you have a certain way that you want, like certain things that you want to represent your brand, your company, your business. You start to develop those standards, and hey, no matter how long it takes, you're going to make sure that everything that you do falls within those standards. Okay. So there was this one. I saw this one after the fact, but there's really thin lines over here. It's thicker on this side. It's thinner on this side. Even if I would have saw this one first, I would have had to do extra work to make it where it matches pretty much and not have these thinner lines. I had to also consider what I was going to be using this for. I'm going to be using it for HTV. That's another thing. How many of you guys really think about the method that you are going to use when selecting images from the internet? If it's from Creative Fabrica, if you are downloading it from groups, if you're buying it from the Silhouette store, or do you think about how you're going to use that final image, that final design? So I'm already knowing, like, I want to use up this vinyl. So I have to think about, okay, what do you have to do with vinyl? You got to weed it. So why would I want, I have to cut this and I have to weed it. Why would I want thin lines? Why would I want so many web pieces that have to come out? Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily use this because this part of the design is a lot thinner than this side of the design. And I would have to do too much work to even it out and balance it out. And that just wasn't worth it. So I saw this web, right? Still not like the greatest. To be honest, I really found I had a hard time. I probably could have just gone into Canva, typed in spiderweb and got one from there. But just from Google, finding one that was kind of like the general shape that I wanted, it actually was kind of tough, especially in the time frame that I was trying to work in. Like I didn't want to spend 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, like searching, like just constantly just keep searching. Knowing how to make something work for you because you know how to use the program can be the greatest thing ever when it comes to designing. So I opted for this. Yes, it's red. The color they wanted is white. Eliminate that part. I find that a lot of crafters, if they're doing something and they're looking for, like, they want to see a blue spider web, they're going to spend the entire time looking for a blue spider web instead of, because once you trace something, you can fill it in with any color. So even if you were printing it, you don't have to search for a blue spider web, a white spider web, a gray, a purple, a orange spider web. Any spider web will do, because once you trace it, once it becomes vector, you can fill it in with any color. So that's another tip. Don't stress over the colors of individual elements because they can always be modified. Okay. I've been using vinyl lately to get rid of this vinyl also, but I forgot how soothing weeding is. I mean, it can be for like 1 or 2 shirts. When you have 9 with all of that little webbing, it took me like almost 3 hours to weed for just 9 shirts because it was so many little parts. Oh my gosh. Do you use the Google image search where you can change the size you're searching for? So it's not necessarily changing the size. You cannot change the size of anything that is on the web. When you do like the different searches, and let's say you choose like it gives you the option to like choose like small, medium, large, or whatever, it's looking for images online that supposedly are a higher resolution, and it just has a bigger pixel number, and sometimes that's still not like the greatest. So you're not necessarily changing the size of it, it's just expanding, and like instead of including small, like lower resolution numbers, it's only including the higher ones, but that image has to exist somewhere on the web in that higher resolution. So I do use it often. And sometimes the results just aren't that great. Like this might be the only version. Really popular items where people have shared it over and over and over and over again and stuff like that in different parts of the web, you get more results. But what if this was created by someone and this was the only one and it just uploaded weird and no one has ever shared it? You're not going to find another version of that because it doesn't exist. Internet searches only give you back what already exists on the web. Make sense? So I found this one. And then, so I think that was like all of my, let me see. I want to say that's all of the images I used. Ooh, wait a minute. I need a charger. Hey, can you bring me my charger from by the bed, please? I think that was, I used this one. I used this one. At first I tried this one. This is the result from tracing this one. And because it's a low resolution. Yes, my love. Hi. Hi, thank you. Appreciate you. And you guys can interact and, you know, engage with what you hear me saying. If it's something that resonates with you, I like to know that you guys are present. If it's helpful for you, if that was a good tip, that was good information, because when it's like silence, because it's not like a class and I can see your faces, I get scared. Like, okay, is it, are they listening? Is it helpful for them? Like, at least on TikTok, I can kind of gauge it by the likes because they can double tap the screen. Facebook and YouTube, it's only one like, so it's a little bit different. So engagement in the chat definitely does help because I'm like, you know, I don't know, like if it's helpful for you guys, if it's good information, if it's something that you did not know, if it was new information for you, if, you know, whatever it is, like if you can interact with me in the chat, that would be great. Okay. We're taking in the information. But see, like here, it's a little bit different because you guys can express like that it's resonating with you by just double tapping the screen. So because this was not the greatest resolution, you can see all the pixelation and halos and thinner lines. This was the result. And I really didn't feel like going in here. And like you can see like right here where it goes up and down and stuff like that. I didn't really feel like trying to fix all of that with edit points. That, I mean, I still end up having to use the edit points, but that would have been way more than what I end up doing with the web that I did use. All right. So I found that one, didn't really want to use it. So we're going to push this off to the side. So we end up using this Spider-Man, this one more so for the words and like the spider in the middle. Actually, I think I deleted it. I don't think I want to say, hold on. Do I still have that search engine up here? Because I really feel like I actually used a different spider. Okay, no, not that one. Okay, no, not that one. Nope. Okay, I don't know where that particular web search is, but we're just gonna bring in another one. So or was it because yeah, there's this one, but I know I didn't use that one because I mean I technically could. It probably would have been a better resolution. It is a better resolution, but for live purposes, I'm not going to because there is a watermark on here. Hobby ever. If you know, you know. I want to say I end up using, yeah, I don't know why it's not on here. This is probably, I think this is one that I end up using. So I'm just going to copy. So just right click, copy, bring it over here and paste. Okay. Because I was like, yeah, I remember when I traced this, I had black and white pixels behind it. I just needed this one for the way Spider-Man was. All right. So these are the images I'm going to use to create this design and put it all together. And I end up having to type out the text for the 2024 and, have my own version of the spider. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take all of these and copy, delete, and we're going to paste this over here and just work on a new page. All right, ready? All of that took us an hour to get here. I would say my apologies, but no, I don't apologize. Sometimes it takes getting that foundational information to really get like a full scope of like what all you need, like the information that you need to know to do these things, like, and to have a business doing this. Okay. So trace and detach. I always teach my students to duplicate. So that's why I had a new page, because I had way too much on the other one. I duplicate every damn thing, everything. Okay. So we're going to go to trace, select trace area, place our box. It's going to pick up on the edges. I'm not picking up on the red, so I have to take my threshold up. Now I picked up on like all of the red edges, all of like the black. And then we're going to go trace. They're getting my nerves on this little moped. All right. So I will click and move this down. It keeps, oh, not trace. Why did I go trace? I'm like, wait, why did that move? I didn't want to do trace. I wanted to do trace and detach. I'm like, why did Marvel and Spider-Man? Because it's supposed to move separate. So let's undo, because trace is not what I wanted to do. At least not right now. I want to trace and detach. And when you do that, this is what I meant to move, is the negative space that was around it. Okay. So even though it's transparent, it's a transparent box. You can see through it. You can't move through it. Like, you have to remove that. Like, it's like a glass. It's like a glass window. You run into it, you're going to smash your face. Right. So all of that around that came off. If I double click on this now, I have edit points going around the word Spider-Man. Okay. So when I click on this, I'm not selecting Marvel. And that's why I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong, because that shouldn't move. Because you detach it, they're not connected. They will become their own separate pieces. Now, trace and detach does not do any inner parts of an image. It only does the outside. So because I know that I'm going to cut this is what I was saying. How do you plan to use it? If I just wanted to know the exact size of it, and I'm going to use it in a digital format, or I'm going to use it in a printed format, I don't have to worry about the middle parts because they're transparent. If I put it, what happened? If I put it in front of something, or, and I want to see it through, it's going to show through because that is transparent. I don't have to worry about that. But because I'm going to cut it, I now have to know that I have to cut out those inside parts. That's just the way Silhouette works. It doesn't account for those inner parts. It just does the outside edges. So to remove the inner parts, I now have to do a secondary trace of just the middle section. Select trace area. I have tons of videos that you don't have to wait an hour to get to that information. They're on my YouTube channel. Just go check it out. So I'm going to just come in this area right here. I'm going to increase my threshold until the areas that I want are surrounded in yellow. Probably, and I'll bring it back some to where, like, before the color starts, see the color's changing right here. So let me go back up. I like to get it right where it's like surrounded by yellow. I'm going to hit trace. I'm going to click on that trace. I know I have the trace because it's a smaller box. I'm going to fill that in with some sort of color. Does not matter what color it is. I'm going to double click. I got way too many edit points. I'm going to simplify to break that down some. Sometimes I will also clean up lines. And then I'm going to release compound path, hold down shift, click in all of those. I don't really need these because what I'm going to do, it's going to cover it up anyway. But just for the sake of this, I'm going to select these areas. And then I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. It's going to get rid of everything except those little inner pieces. If I wanted to, I can go in there, clean them up, maybe add edit points so it goes right to the edge, make something a corner, if I cared that much, to really do like all of that stuff. Let's see, we can make flat. Bring this up and delete all of these inner parts here. So I could clean that up. But once you have it, you'll select it. You're going to go to modify and subtract. Now, when I double click on it, I have edit points, which is an indicator that that area will cut. Wherever you see edit points, it is showing where it's going to cut. People think that the line color is that indicator. No. If you double click and where those edit points are, that is a true indicator of what will cut. Okay. So now this part is done. I'm going to just group this together. And that was ready for me to then take it. I'm not going to show that part. Take it. For me, I took it over to Illustrator to be able to cut with my roller. Had to set up the spot color, all of that. So that would have been like ready to go. So now the front part. I'm going to take my spider, and it is a simple trace. Select trace area. Place the box around it. Trace by color probably would have worked great on this, but just a simple trace. And we just go trace. It's black. It's going to pick up on it immediately. Nothing to do other than box, hit trace, boom, you're done. You can always double click. If it's too many edit points, I like to use simplify because a lot of edit points can slow down and bog down the system. When you hit that, you want to make sure that it's not changing the shape of it too much. This one didn't, so we're good. Okay, so I don't need that one. I'm just going to fill this in with color. For this case, it needs to be black. Then, like over here, I probably could have traced this one too. Select trace area, place our box. Take my threshold down because I don't want the red. I just want it to pick up on the black. And this is where the issue came in for me. Like as I went up, it started to pick up some of the red, too much red. And I didn't like that. And that's why I ended up not utilizing this one for the spider, because when I took it down, it was kind of weird because like where it crossed over the web, it was putting like little weird things on it. So I didn't really use it for that. I only wanted it for the word spider. So I ended up bringing this down where it's just here. And that allowed me a little bit more control to be able to get the word spider. So I'm going to take that down and decrease this to where I'm just getting black. Come on. There we go. And then trace. Double click, simplify. And then I did have to clean up just a little bit, but not too much. And I just did that by like really deleting most of the edit points and just kind of rounding it off. So nothing, I didn't want it. I wasn't stressing over it being like an exact replica of the logo. I just wanted it to appear to be straight. And if you find a better logo, that works as well. And you won't have to do all of these little extra things if you can find, a better version. So I'm not going to go through all of that. We've been in here quite some time now, but just going in anywhere where it kind of curved, just going in and just deleting those edit points and just cleaning them up. So that's what I did So I was looking for, I wanted it to look a certain way. So I didn't mind taking the time out to go through and do that. I didn't really need the man part. They just had spider on theirs. So we're going to release compound path, select just the word spider. I'm going to move it down. And then I made each letter its own compound path if it had an inner part. Because once I put it on the web, I know even then I knew I was going to have to spread it out. So I make each one its own individual compound path so that I can move them and then use my spacing. So this part over here, I don't need. Now the web. So I'm going to go again, just tracing, select trace area, place my box, increase my threshold, and trace, not trace and detach, trace. I don't care for it to be red. I need it to be white. So because I'm not using that as is, I'm not printing it like whatever red that was. I want to fill it in with my own color. I do a regular trace, not a trace and detach. I'm going to move this out of the way. Again, double click on it. A lot of edit points because of the pixelation on there. We're just going to simplify that. May take a little bit longer. The more edit points it is, the longer it takes. We're going to simplify that again. And I added a little bit of offsetting on it as well. So I'm just going to go to my offset window, offset, really thin, offset on this. A lot of times that can help clean up some stubborn lines as well. So I'll just show. It can make it easier to weed as well. And because you're offsetting, like some of those lines end up smoothing out. This one, actually, the two what's names did really good on this. But in a case like this, offsetting can help. I just want to offset this not by as much as it was, because that was a bit much. Come on. Oh, whatever. I'm just going to weld it together. All right. So what's missing from this is a full on web. Everything goes to the edge. But our reference piece, it has what? The web is further down, and then you just kind of have the lines. How do we do that? Oh, wait. Where'd it go? Okay. I can do a couple of things. Okay. I can utilize my knife tool, make sure that it's on poly, and I'm going to come in through here and kind of go over. That way it kind of cuts everything all at one time. Okay. If my preferences was set to continuously use the knife tool, I can just make a cut, go back to knife, make a cut, or make an eraser, go back to it, because that depends on like a setting. But for me, this is the better option, is to just set it to poly. And oops, I went the wrong way. That's okay. And it allows me to kind of get close to the edges, and it's less for me to do. Like, it's time to clean it up. How many of you guys have used you use Silhouette Studio? How many guys have used the poly knife to be able to go in and do like one continuous line that goes in and out, in and out? How many of you have used that tool before? Or if you've never used that tool before, put a 2. If you have used it, put a 4. Now, the other thing is, on the first ones, I removed them. Like I moved each one of those, right? So you saw me do that. Once you're working it, you learn why work harder, why go and click on something, and all these little things. I would have to hold down shift and click on all these different areas. Compared to, I'm just going to click in the middle and move the whole thing and leave y'all behind. That way I can select all of this and just delete it. It's like information like that that can make your life a little bit easier, make things go faster, because we learn things one way, and we know, I teach all the time, to deselect, you're going to hold down shift, click on the things you want to deselect. In a situation like this, that's going to add, even if it's a few seconds, a few minutes, that adds time. Click in the middle, move it, delete everything. Okay. I didn't even know about it. Well, now you know. So now I'm going to use some edit points to basically clean this up. Now I actually, or if I really wanted to, now that I have like that removed, or even with this one, let me show you, hold on. I'm going to do it on this one. If I didn't really, like if I just like wanted like just a straight line, here's another design tip. I'm going to kind of go from the middle, and this is a straight web. So I could have pulled this out to about here, selected it, and go over to my modify and crop. All right. But I still would have to go in and double click, pull out, and adjust the little pieces that are coming off the edge of the web, because it had the lines extended. How many of you guys have never selected multiple edit points and you were doing edit points by moving them one by one? Okay, so still had to go in, maybe clean up a couple of things, but definitely could have done it that way as well. Now that this is like how it's set up, I could have done that with this also, and kind of pull that out to about here. So I did the knife tool, and because I don't have that other stuff, like I don't have the other parts, now when I cut it, it's going to truly separate. So select here and crop. Same thing. I don't care about all those little stragglies. I'm just going to move this and just delete. Now I have it set up. And if I want to go in and maybe like just extend a few of them, I can. If I want to make some of them shorter, I can. Although it utilized more tools and it may have seemed like it's more steps, it's actually easier to just go in and use things like shapes and modify tools like crop or subtract to get to the result quicker. It's more tools, but it is a quicker and neater process. Okay. And if you wanted to taper off the edges, taking some of the edit points, pulling them out, deleting some. So now this becomes like, now you get into like the real details of like how you have stuff set up to where they're not just a straight line. You can extend them out, give it a point, stuff like that. The web for this design was not, this is kind of like a full-on circle. And let's bring it in some to where it's more of an elongated web. Okay, so it's not super straight. Then we're going to bring this to the front. We're going to shrink it down. Bring this to the center. I'm going to pull it to this side and stretch it to where it like even spacing. If it's not touching, it'll be like even spacing in here. I want it to cover up the middle part of it for weeding purposes. And then we're going to take our word spider, place it here. I'm going to shrink it down. I want it to fit. So nice size without it being like super, super big. So let's say if I wanted this size, I can now move this over because the original one, the words for spider were really, really spread out. Oh, wait, let me make that so y'all can see the color. And bring to the front. So they were spread out. So I'm going to pull one over to here. I place that, kind of position this where I want it to be. Select everything, hold down shift, deselect the web, go up to our transform panel and space evenly. And now that's there. I'm going to bring this down just a little. Then I typed out the word, well, not the words, the numbers 2024. Size that there. And then for the spider, even though this comes way up here, ain't nobody got time to deal with all this extra stuff and having to remove that. There's enough of the line here. So when I trace this, I just traced the bottom half of it. I didn't need all that. I knew this wasn't long enough for how I wanted to be on my spider web, but I don't want to have to go in and clean up. There's an extra line here, clean up around that. So I just opted to do, right before my my trace box touched the line at the top. And then we're just going to hit trace. I don't know why my line got kind of wobbly. That's why I tried to change the threshold because it got kind of weird there. Okay, we're just going to hit trace and see how that comes out. It might just look weird on screen, but it'll come out straight. So I'm just going to hit trace. Come on, do what you got to do. If you're learning something, raise your hand. Thank you so much for the follow. Storm's Handmade. Thank you for the follow. Oh, yeah. See, it was still straight. I'll simplify it a little bit. Now that's straight. We're going to delete those points. Whoa. So, of course, I don't want this to be that big, in scale compared to the spider web that's there. So I'm going to shrink it down, pull it right about here. But of course, my string is way too short. Here is where edit points come into play again. I'm going to rotate this a little bit, double click. I'm just going to grab the top ones and just pull it up. I think I had it touched like right there. And I actually don't like where it falls at, like here, it's off to the side. I'm actually going to cut that off, move my spider over and up to where it's centered. Weld those two back together. I need a little bit more thickness to actually, I don't need any of these. Delete all the way to here. So I made it to where it's kind of like getting thinner at the bottom, thicker at the top, got thinner near the spider. I always duplicate. I never alter the original just in case I want to make changes, select the spider and the web, weld those together because that was all of my white, send that to the back. This was black, and that is how I recreated the design that the customer sent me, and I basically did a full vectorization of it, high resolution version of it, like if I want to fill it in with color, or if I wanted to be able to cut it and have nice clean lines. So that was the process. And this, I could have increased the line thickness because I'll show you the everything didn't flip. And that's how I did that. Any questions? The floor is open for questions. Why, thank you. I really need to practice edit points more. We have several practice assignments for edit points in the 30-day training that will definitely get you right. There's a lot of practice assignments. So even if you don't gather things of your own to practice with, if you go into the Essential Socio 30-day training, there's a lot of examples there. Learning a lot with these lives. You can learn even more in our classes. We have 2 weeks to enroll in Essentials of Silhouette Studio at its current price. 2 weeks. It is now $103.65. That gets you access to the original 30 days and that layout. You can watch all of those playbacks. And I'm going to update this pretty soon. And we just did, after 2 years of this program, we went back to I did a live refresher. So I was not doing 30 days straight again. I will never, ever do 30 days straight, but we did 13 weeks and we had a teaching session and a study hall session. This time around, I'm not doing study hall sessions every single week. Because a lot of times there were no questions. Some of the lessons were pretty straightforward or whatever. So we're not doing study hall sessions every single week this time. It's going to be every 2 weeks, I think it is, or maybe every 3 weeks, somewhere in there. But we go back into live sessions starting first week of July, because those who enroll at that time, you're going to have access to the original 30. You're going to have access to watch the original refresher, which there are some great questions asked. There's different examples. You can never have too many examples of learning a program. Now that there's going to be another one added on, there's going to be more training to it. New information always ends up coming out. The way that I teach it based off of questions someone asked, the price will change before July 1st. The price will change before July 1st. So get in where you fit in. Once you sign up for it, every update that I do, if you miss this live and you have to catch the one next year, you get access to whatever updates, whatever new refreshers I add to that course, that teaching, that program, that class, that whatever you want to call it. You get access to it. Right now, we're in Photoshop. Those who signed up for Photoshop 2 years ago, they got access without paying anything additional to the Photoshop training that we are doing live right now. We just had a study hall session today. Any of the other classes that I'm bringing back, when I bring it back as a refresher, you'll always get access to the original and whatever new updates. So it's best to get in when it's at its lowest price, okay? If there are no questions in regards to Silhouette Studio, what it can do for you, about any tools, functions, or anything like that, we will close out. Last call for your questions. Last call for your questions. I am here to help. Those words I like to say, gatekeep. When it comes to Silhouette, I don't gatekeep. I provide you information, whether it's in a free live video or if it's in a paid class. I'm still giving you the information. I'm not holding it on to myself for myself. So people say, oh, don't gatekeep. I don't know why people associate that with giving out free information. If I'm willing to share, whether it's behind a paywall or not, it's not gatekeeping. I'm not keeping it for myself. So I don't mind answering your questions. If you need more information about Silhouette Studio, even just the cameos, what it can do for you. If you want to let me know, if you're starting a business, what it is that you want to be able to do, and you have questions on whether or not Silhouette is going to be the right program for you to do whatever. I see one that says Be Cake. Not sure if you sell cake and things like that. There's a lot of stuff, like it's a lot of ways the Silhouette system and even a cutting machine can help a business that like a custom baker or like a bakery, they make custom treats. There's a lot of stuff that you can add to your business in-house just by learning a design program that's completely free, like Silhouette Studio. All right. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.